This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hello, good evening, welcome. It's that time of the week again. It is the 22 Dropout, and I know I haven't uploaded all the others yet, so you're probably going to get a huge amount of messages in your inbox saying, hey, there's a new show dropped into YouTube. And that's where we met our young Harry. Hello, Harry. Long time no see, mate, for our number one fan. How are you doing?
Good. It has been a while, very long time.
It has, you little shit. You come on, you say to us, I'm your number one fan. I want to come and be on the show. And I know you run this rugby referee team, and I'd like to be part of that. So you take all of the good stuff last year in the summer, then you fuck off. What's all that about, man?
Got to train to keep up with it, or it's straight back to square one.
Fuck off, are you? Jules, do you train like this guy does on a Monday night?
No, he's younger and fitter than I am, but I do train.
Okay, now I'm feeling a little bit bad. Sam?
Yeah.
Do you train as well?
I did train tonight, yes, but Jules' training's more his left and right arm. That's it. That's his training. So yeah.
Well, I didn't wonder whether he was ambidextrous or not.
Lifting beers really quickly, honestly. Lifting beers
in a pub.
in a pub. Yeah. In a pub. Yeah.
Steins, obviously.
I've been doing what we do in Sweden at this time of year, and that is to do winter sports.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I've got a winter sport. It's called staying in on my own and using one of those hands, mate.
It's not Schneider, is it?
Cross country skiing starts next week for me, so. Yeah.
So just how good are you gliding on white stuff?
Right, on snow, not bad. And I've just bought myself a new pair of skis, so they're right in my hall. I need to go and test them out next to this.
Now, is that because your son doesn't want a pair of skis because he doesn't like it, falls over and cries?
No, this is because my older skis are hand-me-downs from my ex's brother that I nicked when he was throwing them out, and I've been using them for years, and then I realised these are too big for me. They've fucking nightmare to turn on, so I bought myself a decent modern set.
Well, I've got a TV in the lounge that's a nightmare to turn on. Doesn't matter how many times you press that fucking on button, it just doesn't want to know.
Yeah,
but there you go. Anyway,
you get to work your thumb all the time. Yeah.
I have, Sam. I've actually got one of those TVs still. There's about this wide instead of about this wide, and at night when you turn it off, it goes boo.
Yeah.
Now, anybody under the age of about 35 won't know what we mean. But when a certain MP this week announced that he would like to see the national anthem played again at the end of the evening on BBC. All those that cheered are of a certain age, and those of you that didn't cheer don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And in fact, what you need to do now, if you're that age, I want you to just press pause. No, you didn't press it, but you wait until we've said this and then press pause. So in a minute, just press pause, and I want you to go and Google BBC National Anthem End of the Evening and the test card. Hands up if you remember the test card with that weird doll and the clown.
Yeah.
Who was freaked out by the weird doll and the clown?
Little bit.
So I think it's only fair tonight that we ask our special guest if he was a little bit freaked out by the doll and the clown. So welcome, Mr. Rhys Edwards. How are you?
Very good, thanks, Mike.
Good.
I was absolutely freaked out, yeah.
Now you're clearly look at the. I mean, if I just show you now the view of everybody, apart from Harry, because he's just blonde and you can't tell where his hair is. If you look around the room now, at the relative forehead sizes, we reckon that you're definitely younger than us, except for Harry. But you will still be within that sort of age range that you will know what the test card is.
Absolutely. Haven't seen it for a while.
Now, the next question is, do you remember then? Are you, because we can try and judge your age here. We're going to have a guess in a minute. Do you remember BBC One closing down at night?
Yes, with the anthem.
Okay, so you must, in that case, remember when Channel 4 started.
Yep.
Okay, if you can complete this this jingle from a TV advert, then now hands that do dishes can feel as soft as your face with mild green.
Fairy liquid.
Okay, so Harry's going, what the fuck is going on?
Fucking clear.
Nothing to do with rugby.
No, but Jules, right, time to guess now. How old do you reckon Reese is?
45.
Good guess.
Sam?
Good guess.
47.
Well, if 45 is a good guess, I might just go for that one.
46.
Oh, there you go.
It doesn't, to be fair, mate, there's another dollar in the fill jar.
Bugger.
He doesn't look it, does he?
I've obviously got the filter on, Mike.
I fucking never thought of that. I should put one on. Got freckles and everything.
Yeah, no, because whenever you have the freckle one on, mate, you've got a big nose, whiskers, and dog ears.
It's the bright yellow sofa. It's the bright yellow sofa that makes it look good.
This is the fun part about unscripted TV, Reese. Now, Reese, you work in TV production, in particular in rugby, don't you?
Yeah.
Is it this shit on your shows?
I say it's not far off, Mike. I'll be honest with you. Some of the programs I've been involved in, absolutely, yeah. No, it's good.
Okay,
to have a bit of fun.
So now you've said that, you've got to spill the beans. Which programs have you been involved in, and particular episodes and people that you're allowed to say without perjuring yourself or subjecting yourself to the laws of libel, would be the worst show, the worst episode, and the worst people, or the most difficult, challenging people to work with?
Hey, when you work in rugby, everybody's great. You know that, Mike, and it's always enjoyable. It's always fun. A lot of good people, and I guess where I was lucky, I was working on for many years on Scrum 5 for the BBC back in Wales, and so it's a relatively small team of people. So, we wouldn't really have many guests unless it was players or ex-players, So I have to say it's been a pleasure. That's very diplomatic, isn't it?
It's the worst fucking answer we've had on this show in nearly 100 episodes, mate.
I was expecting that. I can never confirm or deny.
It's a good job the camera was only on you then, because if they put the camera on everybody on the wide shot, you'd see them all falling asleep during that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, anybody? Hey, hold on. Did anybody notice the presenter of BT Sport during one of the games? I think it was the game on Saturday. Went and stood on Hugo Monya's brand new freaking sneakers and made them all muddy. He was gonna kill him. Hugo was like,
but no. Talking of the weekend. While we've got a few minutes before our break, who saw what games at the weekend? Reese, not working this weekend, mate.
No, but I did catch a bit of the Edinburgh Cardiff game. I was gutted about that result.
Yeah, me too.
So you were gutted, but what did you think about the rugby?
Well, it was all right. Yeah, no, I was if I'm being honest, I'm not going to suggest for a minute that we were absolutely brilliant in the European games that we played, but we came out of it with a bit of credit, and I thought maybe we could build on that as a bit of momentum, So I was a bit disappointed, if I'm being honest.
Jules, do you want to put it more succinctly than that?
They had all the boys back from not playing for 11 weeks. They've had how many days in South Africa they were stuck there. 2 matches postponed, and then they go up and play the bloody league leaders, and we basically got thumped.
What was this?
Now,
What
you
was
know
the
what-
final score again?
I don't think I've ever seen Cardiff drop so many fucking balls.
So you
I used
don't
to know a
the
girl
final
in
score?
Cardiff who would drop balls like that, but that was a different thing. Sam, do you want to remind these chaps just what the score was at the weekend?
I actually don't know what the score was, but I know that Glasgow nailed Ospreys as well.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, Wales regions are doing really well at the moment,
On
aren't
the plus side, though, Scarlets didn't lose and the Dragons didn't lose. Game was postponed.
they?
Well, hey, take that, mate. Take the small win. Take the small win. All I know is now, Welshies, you know what it's like to be a Wasps fan.
No, we still aren't that shit.
Hey, hang on a minute. Beat the league leaders. Stop them getting a record. Fucking no, I've got no idea how. I honestly
I
think
think it's more of them nerves choking rather than you winning. Sorry.
Leicester have been a bit poor the last 2 or 3 games, so they've just managed to grind out results. But
Leicester have been poor the last
coming.
2 or 3 games. Wasps have been poor for the last 13 because of their run of injuries. And how on earth Wasps managed to play the way that they did in the second half, I don't know, because it was like they just made up all their children to look like their fathers and go out and play the first half, and then the dads took over in the second half, because the first half was totally unstructured, and it didn't look like they knew how to play rugby. So fair play to Lee Blackett and the rest of the team that must have given them one hell of a bollocking at half time, and some words of wisdom, and they came out and played rugby. And anybody will know the old sign above the door used to be at Wasps: whatever happens out there, just play rugby. And they seemed to do that in the second half. So I was quite happy with that. I was nervous, I've got to say, and I was watching the clock in the corner of the screen more than I was watching what was going on in the rugby, just to see when, and this is while I was watching it, I was waiting for when Leicester were going to score and we were going to lose again. So fair play to everybody involved.
You sound like a Bath fan.
Yeah, I sound like a Bath fan because they Harry, Bath must be one of your closest teams.
No, well.
Oh no, it's Exeter. Just remind me how they are doing, mate.
Well, Saturday was an interesting one. Yeah, it wasn't great. Obviously.
Did you like that segue, Reece? That was quite good, wasn't it? I mean, even David Flatman couldn't do it that well.
Very smooth, Mike.
I thought so. Although everybody on Scrum 5 can do it much better than me. I know. But look, I'm learning. There's a place for me in the future. I can tell. So come on. How did Exeter do, Has?
It was an interesting one, wasn't it? We were struggling front row wise off the bench. Cepha Scott can't scrummage for his life, and obviously losing Hepburn wasn't ideal. I think that's kind of the turning point in it. Let's not talk about the last penalty that was given. Yeah, probably better to leave that one. But yeah,
does anybody think he's analysed this game far too much for this show?
He's watched it 6 times.
I can't help it.
Hear it in his voice.
It's frustrating.
Well, on that note, and we are going to come back to Hepburn in a minute, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll all see you right after this. See you in a second.
Right.
When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AxiWe AT350.
Radios are always useful, they always help us, especially the AxiWes, where all 3 of us can be open at any time and we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide.
Anywho, part 2.
So, Reece, listen, you're used to being behind the camera, as it were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera on you, and you're going to say, hello, welcome back to tonight's 22 Dropouts with me, Reece Edwards. Don't forget to check out our social media channels. Just look up there.
You might want to write it down because somebody will screw it up.
Should we go for a rehearsal first of all?
Rehearsals, what's that? I don't get
Look
rehearsals.
directly into the camera, Reese. Camera four, Reese.
Yeah.
Hold on, he needs the makeup thingy on his forehead and all that, man, and his nose, man.
Reese, camera four, and do your piece to camera now, please. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the 22 Dropout, where you can follow us on the link above on social media. Oh, sorry, Mike. Did you want me to mention your name as well? Did you?
No, I want you to tell everybody your name.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
I'd also love you to sit back a bit because all we can see is your nose downwards.
Oh, there we are. Good thing it was the rehearsal.
So
You'll fucking use that one now. You watch, you'll fucking edit that and use that one just to piss you off.
Yeah.
So we'll go for take 2 in a second, and it'll be hi, welcome back to the 22 Dropouts. My name is Reese Edwards. Don't forget to follow the social media channels just up there. Are we ready for that?
Okay.
Okay. Part 2, take 2 in 3.
Welcome back. I'm Reese Edwards. This is the 22 Dropout. Don't forget to follow us on the social media links right up there.
What a pro.
Impressive, mate. Impressive.
First take.
Better than you, Mike.
Oh, much better. Mate, he is much better than me. The good news is I have the edit button later on. So I can't say all, but most of my fuck-ups I can get rid of. I don't always, and I can't always, but sometimes I can. Anyway, before the break, we were talking about the Exeter game at the weekend with Harry. And Harry wanted to skirt over a particular issue, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah, just a minor issue. Didn't have any impact.
A minor one.
Yeah.
So explain to the nice boys and girls at home what happened.
Oh, Mr. Hepburn got a bit carried away with himself, didn't he? Clear out on Joe Marler. Completely unnecessary. He was already out the way. Decided to drop him on his head, pretty much.
So is that talking as a referee or talking as an Exeter supporter?
Yeah, yeah. I think the TMO's explanation wasn't much different to that. He's picked him up and dropped him on his head. It's pretty clear.
And I think you were right. He didn't need to go there. He's already. No. I mean, he was lucky in the beforehand that he didn't get penalised or maybe sanctioned further for his side entry. So because he got away with it once, he thought he'd have another go and assist somebody else in clearing Joe out, and decided that Joe's head was to be used as a North Seal oil rig, and he was going to go drilling for oil. Mr. Hepburn, no, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look. And if you wanted to warm the bench for a few weeks, just say that your knee's hurting, mate, because that's a bit shit. If you'd like to come on the show and explain yourself, we'd love to have you.
He won't. No.
He won't. All right. In that case, what do we say to him, Jules?
Not much. Doesn't deserve words.
Oh, there you go.
you got to see. Normally, if Mr. Phil Clev was here, we'd be saying "tibide," but we're not going to say that. We're going to say something else so we don't get a fine, right?
Oh, you're going to get a fine because he's watching it later.
Yeah, whatever. So you got to give it to the guy, right? He did actually go up to Marler and apologise to him before he went off the pitch. So that at least.
You don't have a apology off the pitch, do you?
Yeah, you can kudos for him for that. But I tell you what, I thought the referee absolutely nailed it. He got the right man. The other one was not the instigator, was not the aggressor. It was a fair clear out, and he was the one that did the freaking aggressive part. So he got the right guy as well.
But then again, he does have ARs and the TMO and somebody like Reese in the truck giving you 19 slow-mos from 6 different angles.
Unless we're not hearing all the pubs, the ARs and the TMO did not come in.
Well, no, because of course everybody saw legs going up in the air and Joe burrowing down for oil.
Nobody came in though. Nobody came in.
No, they didn't. I don't think they needed to come in to give the call, but that evidence is critical. I mean, if you saw that in the first, once at full speed, it could be, given where the referee was positioned and where he was looking, could be quite difficult to decide which one was the player at fault. And there's a lesson for us all that rather than just ball watching is to look a couple of feet off the ground, especially if you are ARing, look a couple of feet off the ground and see what's happening there and let the referee watch the ball, because two people, one on each leg, very difficult in real speed to spot that and without the benefit of the playbacks. Maurice, while we're talking about playbacks and the TMO, obviously it's quite different in the truck because they do have somebody dedicated there. Can you just explain how that works? We've heard it from a referee's point of view before, who've been TMO. From a TV production point of view, how does it affect you guys and what do you have to do?
It doesn't really affect us beyond kind of, doing our very best to get the best angles available for the TMO to view. It's very much sort of teamwork. And, from, I guess, if you look at production in general, it's one of the areas where, you forge actually quite a close relationship with the TMOs. And it's an important one for obvious reasons. So, the process, you could argue that it's just turning replays around. But there's obviously that added element of making sure that you try and pick the best angles and then work in conjunction with the TMO to make sure that, between the two of you then, if you like, and certainly the wider group, that you get them right, you get the decisions right. So yeah, it's... So
in 2005 then, why were you not in the TV van in New Zealand for the Lions when O'Driscoll got nailed in the first test? They couldn't get any TV angle at all.
Yeah, well, it's a good question. And when you work on sort of international standard kind of productions with a number of cameras available, it does beg the question, doesn't it? I've got absolutely no idea.
So I think that's what that's leading to is when you watch rugby that's broadcast from France, for example, on a scale of 1 to 10, when on a scale of 1 to 10, when the replays are shown or it does go to the TMO and it's a game involving particularly a French and an English club, for example, how frustrated, not as a British person, not as a Welshman now, how frustrated are you professionally, really, in the quality of some of those replays that could determine a sanction against a French player?
Yeah, I think, it's a difficult one because if you're not on the truck, you don't really know the circumstances. But I think actually from a purely professional point of view, I think, when you're talking about maybe European rugby and the standard we're talking about, there shouldn't be any excuse production wise to nail down, certainly, a handful of good replay angles from all around. As I said, without knowing what their setup is on the truck, it's hard to really know why some of that stuff happens. All I'm saying is, I think, most production teams within the UK for sure are experienced enough to always do their very best to get it right. So, that should follow suit elsewhere.
Do they? Is there a standard? So obviously in the UK, the Premiership, the top whatever it is these days, the United Reformed Church League. Is there a set protocol as to where the cameras are around the ground? I know match commissioners getting involved in this, but do you guys have a protocol throughout leagues, and is that replicated therefore in the Six Nations? Because I would hope so. When you get good quality angles, if it's at Twickenham, Murrayfield, or Cardiff, but you don't get the same good angles when it's in Paris.
Generally speaking, domestic rugby in the UK certainly has more or less the same camera plan. It's upwards of 8 cameras at most top end games, sometimes more. So obviously everything gets covered off, including the kind of 4 corners and so on. And then as you go up to international level, you're doubling the number of cameras again. So it makes life a lot easier. So I don't really understand, because if you've got a multi-camera setup at any game of rugby, you've got the opportunity to cover it for TMO from almost anywhere.
They only need 3 for TMO minimum, but I know EPCR are using 9, I think, using Vogo for the streaming, and they run all the screens at the same time on one screen for the sighting commissioners anyway. I don't know if I think they use the same for the TMO as well.
Yeah.
So they can see all 9 angles if they've got 9 cameras at the same time and run them back and forth and see everything from the different angles all at the same time on the same screen.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses for them, I think.
Totally agree. And you know, as I said, the standard of production is high enough now. So I really couldn't answer why, you know, they would either be limited angles or just the wrong view. You know, I mean, I guess part of that comes down to the TMO, because the TMOs are so experienced now that they quite often dictate what we show, which is absolutely the right way to go about it. But there was a time not that long ago where it was driven by production, because it was actually easier for production to push certain angles to help the TMO. Now it's far more of a collaboration, I guess.
Well, maybe it's just...
Going back to 2005, then basically we're just saying that the Kiwi TV was shit.
All I'm going to say is I reckon the cameraman put a cute girl in the stand and was busy focusing and then trying to get her on the telly. That was it.
We're going to have 2 Kiwis in trouble. We just didn't get the angle. We're really sorry.
So, Rhys, look, we've talked to TMOs before, and I think maybe, I don't know, we've got the impression that they just sit in this little sort of van with carpet walls, with a screen here and a screen 7 seconds behind, and an operator who can help them. Is that in a vehicle on its own then, or a part of a vehicle on its own, or do they sit in the same production suite as you do?
Depends. You know, quite a few productions, they're in the same truck, and that's usually because of limited space. And then if you take it all the way up to World Cup level, they're in a completely sterile environment on their own, and that's actually with a completely different setup to even to the Six Nations, you know. So it's a variation on the theme. So sometimes they're in a separate truck, and sometimes they're in the same one.
Okay, very interesting. Now, before we go to our next break, we are going to come on to the other thing that seemed to be the focus of the TV cameras this weekend. And when we come back, Rhys, I want you to explain how and why you choose the camera angles you do for broadcast, and describe how that job goes. But if you were in production and you saw Alice Genge going to give a really, really weak slap and then stick his fingers close to somebody's eye and then pull his hair, what angles would you personally choose? Well,
I mean, if that happened live and we all saw it, then you'd actually put the emphasis on your replay coordinator to push that angle straight through to production. You know, that's the way it generally works on, you know, anything from foul play to good play to tries to penalties and everything in between. So who else saw the Genji hair pull and the girly slap?
Yeah.
I think Hugo felt it a little bit.
Mike, we told you this before. It's not a girly slap. If a woman had slapped him, he'd been down like a sack of shit.
No, you're right. You are absolutely right. It's a rugby player slap. That's difficult to say when you're not thinking a rugby player slap, because rugby players don't do anything anymore because of people like Rhys that can get them banned if they can help it. So what they do is they all just readjust each other's shirts by saying nasty words to each other, and then they laugh at each other. So I think in those situations, we should have a power failure within the TV truck at some point, have a signal pitch side that all the cameras are off, let them get it out of the system and then come back in. I don't know. Maybe it's just a thought of the future.
Don't encourage that, because that's caused me problems over here, and that we've missed stuff because of it. Because we have I'm not going to say which club, but there's a number of videos where there's been fighting kicked off on the pitch, and the camera has suddenly moved away when you've only got one camera from anything going on, and then comes back when they're all finished.
Oh, was he French by any chance?
No, not French.
Okay, just check it. Anyway, we're going to take another quick break and we'll just talk a little bit more about what Rhys gets up to in his darkened truck. And then we're going to go on to tonight's This or That quiz. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Take care. Well, welcome back to part 3 of tonight's 22 Dropouts. I am Mike Mulroy. That was Rhys Edwards who introduced part 2, and they are our social media channels. Just look up and search at 22 Dropouts, because that guy just there, called Julian, is going to put some content online, aren't you, Jules?
Meh.
Yeah. When was the last time you put some content online, Jules?
About a week ago, actually.
Okay. A week ago last year. Yeah, I know.
Well, it was last year, wasn't it?
It was last year. You could have said last year. It'd be more appropriate than a week ago. Hashtag just saying. Anyway, Rhys. Now, we were talking before the break about the work that you guys do and how it works. So just explain what you do in the truck, what your job is, and what your title is, I suppose, because everybody's got a really posh title when it comes to TV and film, haven't they? I mean, you've got a gaffer, you've got a key grip, you've probably got a monkey's boys polishing knocker or something. You know, transport captain. You can tell I've worked in TV and film for a while. But when it comes to sort of live broadcast, you've got some ace jobs, but I'm not certain everybody knows what people do.
Yeah, well, it's similar titles, I guess, from sort of producer to director, assistant producers, production assistants or production managers, that kind of thing. I suppose we've also got VT, we call it, which is the replay truck, and I guess they're their own team within a team. Yeah, so essentially that's it. It's some of the terms are quite familiar. I'm a match director, so I'm essentially on the buttons cut in the game itself. So
you would be the director, the guy that you can't, like in a film, direct by saying, I want you to do it this way, but you're the guy who selects what camera angle, because you're looking at a bank of TV screens, aren't you?
Yeah.
And do you actually sort of have loads of buttons, or have you got like several chaps around you with their finger on 2 buttons and you go 1 and he presses 1, then you go 5 and another guy presses 5? How does that work?
Yeah, you generally have a kind of, you know, a line of buttons in front of you. And you physically actually punch the buttons as and when you need it. So, you know, if you're selecting whichever camera you need at that time. I mean, we do
You're basically the best whack-a-mole player in the world.
You've hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
When he was 5, he was Hungry Hippo champion in Barry, mate.
Yeah,
I should be on his CV, mate. Hungry Hippos champion 1974, and away we go. Actually, no, you're too young.
So a lot of live TV, like news and things, they tend to queue up, as it's called, cameras to do different angles, close in on the guest, particularly if it, like a chat show and things like that. I suppose that's how it probably works in studio when you were doing Scrum 5. Yeah. How does that differ then between doing studio work and doing sort of live sport from your point of view?
Yeah, it's more or less the same. It's just it's done ahead of time. So every single camera operator has the same brief, you know, in terms of how they're going to frame it, who they need to be on at any particular time. And then that's where the experience of good rugby production teams come in, because they know exactly who the players are. They know the difference between, you know, if you're going to call for a player of a position rather than, you know, or if you're calling for a coach or whatever, they know exactly where they're sat or who they need to pick up. So, you know, that plays a big part in it as well. So it's the same, but you've just got to do it a lot quicker and, you know, in the moment, I guess.
So do you listen to what's going on in commentary then? so that you get a feel of what the comms guys are talking about. You then would talk to the camera operators to try and get a shot of what the comms are talking about before you select the right camera angle.
Yeah, it's a bit of all of that. So we're listening to the commentary team. They're also listening to us. So if we're queuing up a replay, they know it's coming. And then again, you kind of, as a team, you're trying to communicate, take some things in, you're filtering a lot of stuff out. And then hopefully, if you bring it all together, you end up with good rugby production. If you get it wrong, it speaks for itself.
I think the same is true about rugby refereeing. You get lots of information from your eyes, two other sets of eyes on the side of the field, information in the ear, information from everywhere else. And it's about filtering the information to get the right outcome.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating world, and I think it'd be great to actually see it in action sometime. So there you go. There's a documentary that you can go and sell. Just remember where the rights are owned. It's at 22 Dropouts, and we'll use that as our beer kitty for when we go to the World Cup. Talking of which, mate, World Cup, going? Not going?
It's early days because obviously things went very quiet because of COVID. Certainly at a similar time ahead of Japan, we already knew we were going and the whole team had been picked and signed off and everything else. But with France, it's an ongoing thing. Fingers crossed we get asked to go back.
Well, that's because they're French, and you know what the French are like. They don't want a good team there showing them up, do they?
Might have something to do with it.
Definitely need to get to Saint-Étienne. That's for sure.
Yeah, Saint-Étienne, and you're coming to stay with us for a couple of days now, Villa, mate.
Sounds good.
We're going to book ourselves a nice big villa with a pool.
Bring the camera crew. We want the truck, and we want you guys to run. Imagine this, right? We've got 18 mobile phones all on Zoom, linking into his camera truck, and Reese is in there selecting which phone is going to be broadcast live. How fucking good would that be?
Fuck that. I'll bring some decent cameras down, mate. I'll get work.
Yeah, mate. Well, you just bring all your AI cameras down. That'll be quite good. Now, Reese, before the World Cup comes, you're about to go off and do another season in the MLR.
Yeah, just about to head off to pre-season, and we kick off on February the 4th for another season. And excited, looking forward to it again.
And how many years is this that you've done MLR now?
This is going into my third year of MLR. I mean, obviously we lost a year because of COVID.
Yeah.
And it started 5. This is going into the 5th season, so it was only the first year that I wasn't involved. So it's been good, and as I said, really looking forward to another season now. And
doing exactly the same job.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hybrid, really, because as much as for the odd game, I'll get on the buttons and direct as normal, but for quite a few of them, I kind of take a back seat and produce or help produce and help the teams out there understand what it is that we're trying to do. It goes back to what you were talking about earlier, production standards and rugby production standards in particular.
So as a producer then, you're more giving overall direction to the crew who will direct and then shoot and everything else.
Yeah, I guess you're sort of editorializing the decisions, making sure that they understand where they need to be and who they pick up on camera. For a lot of these guys, maybe last year was the first time they'd ever seen a rugby match. So, you're trying to help with that side of it, the stats, the graphics.
Now, are you talking about the players in the MLR or the spectators?
Both. No, I'm talking specifically about the TV crews, and they're all really experienced sports guys, and as sports production in the States is amazing. It's up there with the best in the world. So what you're trying to do is really just give them that kind of helping hand with the rugby side of it. And to be fair, it's coming on, and they're doing a great job.
Super duper.
Because I work in sports production software.
Yeah, you two need to talk offline, as it were. Now, we've come to the most exciting part. We were going to ask you, and Reese had been briefed on this, about tour stories, pranks, and if we've got a couple of minutes afterwards, we might talk about those, because I know he was shitting himself earlier. But we've come to the part of tonight's show where we talk about Reese and his psychoanalysis. So we've developed this quiz with some really good medical advice. We've come up with a quiz, and it's a simple quiz. It's a yes or no answer, really. You're given two options, and you can't choose a third. It's really simple, but backs always get it wrong. So if I were to say, for example, red or blue, you can't choose mustard, that being the colour of your sofa. Okay, so you would have to choose red or blue, even though they may not be your favourite. So you've got to choose one or the other. I take it as a clever man, those rules are not too taxing for you. It's
not at this stage, Mike. No.
I like that answer because it's going to get worse. So, Samuel, are you ready with tonight's jingle?
Oh, jingle tonight, is it?
Oh yeah, I'm just twisting. I'm sharing it about a bit. Are you ready with the jingle? You're going to do the jingle tonight, mainly because Julian was supposed to ask his brother to write us a jingle about 12 months ago, and he still hasn't fucking bothered.
So the intro jingle or the 90-second jingle?
Would you look? Well, I hope it's not a 90-second jingle. I hope it's at the end of the 90 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what you meant. Okay. Would you like to do an introductory jingle as well?
No.
Okay. So in that case, although the viewers won't see it, Sam will give us a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Julian will be counting 90 seconds on the clock. And hopefully we will get through all of the questions before the 90 seconds is up. So, Reese, are you ready for tonight's This or That quiz?
Yes.
Excellent news. Sam, can we have 90... No, Julian, see, I've even cut myself out. Julian, 90 seconds on the clock, please.
Ready to go.
Give us a 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, go.
Sauna or ice bath?
Ice bath.
Fish or chips?
Chips.
Ketchup or brown sauce?
Ketchup.
Netflix or Amazon?
Amazon.
TikTok or Tinder?
TikTok.
Cardio or weights?
I missed that one, Mike.
Cardio or weights?
Oh, cardio.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Golf or gym?
Gym.
Flip-flops or sliders?
Flip-flops.
Yeah. Oxfords or brogues?
Did he say Oxfords or brown bros?
No, and well, it doesn't matter which colour. Oxfords or brogues?
Oh, bros.
Blondes or brunettes?
Blondes.
Your wife will never watch it.
Boobs or bum?
Boobs.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Ale or lager?
Lager.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Calvin Klein's or Oddballs?
Calvin Klein's.
7s or 15s?
15s.
Disco or Ibiza tunes?
Disco.
Showing your age there, mate. Oh, you can't do that one. Pass the ball or run with it?
Run with it.
And bacon sandwich or sausage sandwich?
Bacon sandwich.
Oh, just in time. I think what we've, just on a quick look and seeing the delay in some of your answers, I think you are a sexual predator who doesn't like to be known as such. And that comes down to your TikTok or Tinder answer and the way you paused and giggled before you gave the answer. I mean,
Swipe Tinder away and go with TikTok.
Oh shit, he asked Tinder. I better go with the other one, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what I say. I can say Fab Swinger for all you know. As long as when I said Tinder, you went away from that one. So all the other ones before that were designed to catch you out, but well done for not falling on that one. You didn't fall on the flip-flops or sliders, although there is a debate about that at the moment. Oxfords or brogues, you did fall at that hurdle.
I don't agree. Brogues at best. Sorry, brogues.
Too flashy.
That's it. We've muted Sam again. I take it your wife's blonde.
Yeah.
That's okay then. I won't ask which bit she's got. You will leave that one to just your answer. Lager and Coke, mate, you're failing miserably at the back end of this.
Coke for the win. Coke for the win. Thank you, Phil.
No, Phil's not here to defend the might of Pepsi. Harry?
No.
Can you just tell Reese who you are an ambassador for, mate?
Well, I'll just get a big bag of stuff that's been delivered.
Harry, I'm gutted. I'm sorry.
Harry,
Hello.
does that mean I can have the stash that you were going to send to Reese instead?
Send it to Malta. Send it to Malta.
I think you should send some. You need to send Reese at least a pair of pants and an odd-balls bobble hat, and he is going to go to the States in an MLR truck, and he's going to photograph himself in pants and bobble hat and send it to you.
Easy to sort. Easy to sort.
There you go. So Reese, you're getting some pants and a bobble hat. See, I told you, coming on this show is a great thing. Is a great thing. You know, look at what you get. You get ridiculed, and then you get a pair of pants. Of course, you're old enough to go for disco. You'd rather run with the ball. Just remind me, what got you into rugby in the first place? Then, how did you end up where you are now?
Oh, into production, you mean, or
well, no, just in. So, did TV come before rugby, or did rugby come before TV?
Like every Welsh lad, I grew up playing the game. You know, simple as that, and played it all through school. Started playing senior rugby, and actually, when I was in my second year of senior rugby, the rights for club rugby came up in Wales in 1997. And the opportunity to start working on that production came up as a runner, and that was it. So I ended up taking a sabbatical, and I never went back to play. So
you sound just like Philip Schofield, you do. That's how he started, wasn't it? He started the BBC as a runner or something, and he used to. And every time he wasn't working, he'd just go and stand in the back of sets, getting to know people.
Yeah, that's how most people get into TV, Mike. You know,
isn't it weird? Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
So talking about growing up in Wales and the Welsh legends, right? We've got a little game for you to play before you go tonight.
What's he gonna fucking do now?
This game is called Snog, Marry, or Avoid. I'm sure you've heard of this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you 3 names of 3 Welsh rugby players.
Yeah.
They could be male, they could be female. Okay. They could be fish, for all I know. What you've got to do is decide which one you're going to snog, which one you're going to marry, and which one you're going to avoid. Okay? So, I have to look down here at my other screen. I'm not as good as you, just to cue you up on it. So, your 3 Welsh legends are Gareth Edwards, Gareth Thomas, or Barry John. Which one are you going to snog, marry, or avoid?
Right. Well, I'm going to avoid Gareth Edwards. I'll snog Alfie, and I'll marry Barry John.
Good choice. Good choice.
Well played. Well played.
That's the quickest anybody has come up with answers in this quiz before now. So now what you've got to do, Reese, is you've got to explain your answers to us.
Well, it was an obvious choice. It was easy.
Yeah.
Barry's the king. Simple choice. Alfie, good lad. He'd probably appreciate it.
Yeah.
And the other fella, I've never heard of him. So
I didn't think you would have done it. I think you just happen to be related because, well, not even related. It just happens to be a common name in Wales, doesn't it?
That's exactly what it is.
Could be anywhere.
So for anybody who's unsure, Reese, who's your dad?
The fella you mentioned earlier.
He'll be dead happy to know that you don't want to shag him. Now, on that bombshell, we are going to call it a night. It's been wonderful. We have got a little bit over time, but we don't care because Reese has been absolutely class tonight, and we've all learned a lot. We wish you well over in the States, mate, and we hope you'll come back and tell us all about it when you get back with a nice tan from Texas.
And look after yourself and take care.
Yeah, you look after yourself, and we'll see you soon. See you next week. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you.